Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Do What You Love and Love What You Do. So excited, man. Just finished the holidays, got Christmas coming up. My mom and dad came to visit me, and just blessings on top of blessing, guys. A lot of things happening with Dream Chaser Academy. And we have a special guest on the show, guys, and I don't know really how to introduce you without, the professional way. You've been knowing me my whole life. Actually, at the hospital when I was born, basically my sister from another mother, and we just grew up with each other and watching each other's accomplishments and watching each other just do great things. And so I finally got to catch up with you, with your schedule and all the exciting things that you're doing. I have Michelle McKissic on the show today. Do What You Love, Love What You Do, all the way out there in Arlington, Texas. Where we grew up. Hey, Michelle, what's going on?
Nothing much. How you doing, Jacob?
Doing great. Just excited, man. I'm finally glad I got to catch up with you. You've been real busy. I don't want to give the show away, but I don't want to let the cat out the bag, let them know what you've been doing. But what's up?
Nothing much. It was a holiday season. So, I came through that. I was sick a little bit before then. So, it's definitely a blessing to be here right now in a good place.
That's good. That's good. So let's just get right into it. Michelle, what's your background? What did you study in school? And what do you do now?
Well, I went to school for radio, television, film. And I had a minor in communication studies. And with that, I tried my hand at the entertainment industry. I knew I wanted to be a part of it, but I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. Well, I said I wanted to write. But as a kid, you think of going into entertainment, you think of acting. You want to be in front of the camera because that's all you know, that's all you've seen.
Right.
But I don't like attention. So, and I have a terrible memory. So I realized quickly that acting isn't necessarily going to be my forte.
Right.
But I did the radio, TV, film major, and I majored in production, and I wanted to be a creative. I wanted to help write and create the stories that you see, even though I won't be the one acting them out.
Right.
But like you said, we grew up in Arlington. I love Arlington. I'm a Texan. I'm a Southerner. And California is expensive. New York is expensive. And as a fresh graduate, I can't afford to live there. My dad said, I'm not gonna pay for mortgage here and there because rent in LA is equivalent to mortgage in Texas.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's stupid. So it's literally stupid. I visited and I'm just like, I don't know how people do it, but whatever. So I didn't have the resources to go to the coast. So I tried to make my dreams happen here. And I did some stuff, but to try to get the radio, TV, film thing launched, but it never took off the way I would want. And I'm a sucker for security.
Right.
I like knowing where my next meal is coming from. Like I don't have starving artistry in my blood. I'm not cut out that way.
Right.
So I went back to school and I got a master's degree from because I went to TCU for undergrad.
Okay.
And then I went to DBU, Dallas Baptist University, for my master's, and that's in professional development with an emphasis in marketing. And I had an internship. And it was in a cubicle. I didn't really like my boss. And I was just like, everyone that came to work was counting down to retirement. Yeah. And they not only did they know when they retired, but they could tell you when everybody else in the office retired. And I was like, what type of existence is this?
Right.
I'm 24 years old. And I'm just like, I can't count down until I'm 65. Like, that'd be terrible.
It's crazy.
So I knew that probably wasn't the route for me to take. So then I got my teacher certification. I went in the classroom. So I was like, if I can't, if I can't live the TV thing right now, I could at least do something that I won't dread every day and have to count down until I get out of here.
Right.
So, and I always told myself, if I ever became a teacher, I would teach the one subject that was my favorite subject in high school, that my favorite teacher taught, and that was speech. So I went back and I was a speech teacher.
Wow. So you were a speech teacher. And I remember that. I remember you actually was a coach. a debate coach, and I remember you were excited. Yeah, you used to be excited about the competitions, be out all night, and y'all did pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to rewind a little bit, you skipped some stuff. I got written down. You thought I forgot. So in high school, you were a Powder Puff MVP. Um, you know, I think I think you might have drew a flag for some kind of dance celebration after you scored a touchdown.
Did I?
And I think it was maybe flag or touch, and I think you like just tackled or stiff armed somebody.
I mean, I may have stiff armed. I got 4 touchdowns that game.
Yeah. It was a great experience, and you crushed it. You crushed it, and so I definitely remember that as one of your big accomplishments. And then, I remember you working, doing some stuff with Steve Harvey. And you actually tried to put me on with that, and I just couldn't do it with the schedule working out.
Yeah.
And I needed some money, and they weren't paying, so I couldn't do it. But I remember that. I remember that experience, and then you met up with Steve again.
Yeah.
And another big accomplishment that you had is a record that still holds. I think it was 191 points.
194.
Excuse me. 194 points.
Yeah.
On the fast, on the money bonus fast run, I think.
On Family Feud.
Yeah, on Family Feud. So man, you just to me, you already live in a celebrity status. I'm just happy to just to be able to catch up with you. Get a response from a text, but definitely proud of you and the things you've done. So you were a teacher, and I remember the conversations we had, because I definitely that's my passion. We ran camps together.
Yeah.
We did that. So kids were our passion. So we were on the phone, and then it seemed like you needed another challenge after that. So and you started writing on the side and doing that. So I know you currently have a 9-to-5, but let's just dig into some things. The name of the show is Do What You Love, Love What You Do. And you mentioned some key things earlier with being in that cubicle. And that story is heard about 90% in America in the fields, different fields. No matter what field you're in, people are dreading going to work. People are dreading Mondays. They say heart attacks happen on Monday the most day in the morning. So being that the title shows Do What You Love, Love What You Do, what does that mean to you, Michelle?
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, do what you love and love what you do. First, you have to find out, what do you love?
Right.
And then do it.
And then do it, right?
But the trick is, honestly, that's a lot easier said than done. So although it's very self-explanatory, it's not necessarily easy. And I, as a teacher, and I taught high school, so I could talk and connect with my students, and I did that a lot. And I would give them a lot of what I thought was practical advice and life advice and what to do. And kids would be like, some kids want to do things that just make money. Oh, right. I want to do this. I want to be a doctor because doctors make money. I want to be a lawyer. Lawyers make money. I want to get into do the stock market. That makes money. Other kids, they just want to do something because, I'm passionate about, I really have a heart for this and I have a heart for that and I like that. But I'm like, but that don't make any money.
Right.
You have to have a balance between your desires and your passion and reality. Like, unless you plan on living with 3 roommates for the rest of your life or staying with your parents the whole time, you can't always just do what you love. If what you love isn't, profitable to an extent. But I say that with caution. If what you love normally isn't a lucrative or even a suitable for steady pay, you have to find a way to make it that way.
Right.
You have to kind of find a way to, how do I channel what I love and to make it profitable or make it something that I can do as a profession? Or, even how do I split my time to where I do routinely what I like and what I feel has just cause and what's important, and I can dedicate a lot of my free time to what I truly love, even though, because like my dad used to say that my grandmother was a school teacher too, so education runs in my family. And my dad said teaching was her money, but the church was her honey.
Yeah.
Because she had a heart for God. She was a strong Christian woman. Her husband was a pastor. So she was a preacher's wife. So my dad, he made it clear, like, I mean, she liked teaching. Of course, she could, sow into kids' lives and be a strong vessel there. God could use her in the classroom, but her heart was in the church. And so that's what he said. And I never forgot when he would say that her job was her money, but this over here was her honey. Like that's what she loved. So sometimes that may be the route you have to take is, deciding, can my passion, actually be my money as well? Or does it just I have to keep those two separate?
Yeah. And one thing, Shell, I've been really digging deep into is your purpose as well, and the difference between your passion and your purpose. Cause I'm passionate about basketball, but
I'm watching the game right now.
Yeah, that's definitely not my purpose.
Yeah, that's true.
But my purpose is, helping others and impacting lives. So I coach basketball.
Right.
And so I stay around the game and use basketball as a tool to teach life lessons. And so, I say that because, I understand my purpose here is to impact lives and serve others as much as I can through different webinars, through speaking, however I can motivate others to go out there and find their own true passion and search for their purpose. And I think a lot of people don't understand. They don't even know what their purpose is. They might like things a lot, and that might be their passion. But is that really your purpose? What are you using your gifts and talents for, and how is it, making the world a better place? And I think that's where we have to find out, and how we can utilize our gifts and talents to, impact other people. And so that's where I think that purpose part comes in. You got anything to say about that?
No, I mean, I agree with you. You definitely have to know your purpose. And I liked how you differentiated between passion and purpose. Like I could be gung-ho over this, but if I'm not great at it, there's a great chance that, that's not what I was purposed to do.
Right.
Regardless of my love for it, regardless of how, passionate I feel about it, I can't, I can't reach the masses with this passion because I'm not good enough. The masses will never know me through this, but that doesn't mean I can't still be around it. I can surround myself with a passion while fulfilling my purpose. And I think that's what you referenced. And coaching and teaching does that a lot. There's a saying, those who can't teach, and that's not totally fair.
Right.
But I would argue there's an element of truth to it as well. Let's take coaches. Like there's some people on the basketball or football, they've never played in their lives. Yeah. But they have a mind for it. They can see the game in a way that the average person can't. Mm-hmm. So although they can't personally dribble the ball or, throw touchdowns or do, whatever, they can maximize the talent of the people that can. So you do have to know, separate between the passion and what my purpose, is.
Man, that's crazy that you hit on that. I'm actually reading this book right now by Maxwell, 21 Laws of Leadership. And that's one thing he talked about is, if you have a team, whatever team you're on, you're as a leader, maximizing the talents of everybody else around you.
Yeah.
And, that might be your strong point to do that. So really, Michelle, just super proud of you and things you accomplished. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Am I your first interview since the debut? Or have you been interviewed by different magazines or anything like that before I spill the beans of what you debuted for?
Yeah, I was about to say, do they even know what you're referencing?
Not yet, not yet.
I had an interview like the week before it came out. Contact my dad because I'm not but she found my dad. She slid into my daddy's DMs.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm trying to get a hold of your daughter.
Yeah.
And so he just sent that information to me. So she has a publication. So I did that for her, and I think it released the day or the week of.
Okay.
Yeah, but
okay. Cool. Yeah, you're not on Facebook though. You're not on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, you're not on Facebook. Definitely on Instagram.
Yeah.
Definitely want people to follow you on Instagram. We'll get that information out, and they'll also be on the bottom of our screen. So I definitely, if you're viewing this, you can definitely follow Michelle on her journey. So let's talk about this journey. So you did it. You produced the film.
I'm still doing it. Hopefully.
Yeah. It got on TV1. It was a hit.
Thank you.
So we were real excited to see you on there doing that. I was proud. Watching it. I made my family watch it, and we just, it was a good movie. It was a good family movie. Like, just too many commercials. But
it's funny you said that. I was on Twitter there, like while it was airing, and Nelly, the rapper, he was tweeting because I guess he's friend. Oh, because him and Boris are on
Oh man, that's my show, man. That show is so funny.
And so I guess, because he has that relationship with Boris and Nicole, he tweeted them. He was like, "Yo, I'm trying to watch y'all's movie, but it's all these commercials, man." It was funny that you mentioned that because that's what he said too.
Yeah, so
commercials pay the bills.
Yeah, well, so you made it. You made it on there. You had that. Had that experience. You see my shirt, Trust the Process, TTP.
Yeah.
Tell us the process. How did you stick with it? How many no's did you get? Tell us the downtime and what were the hard times, and how did you persevere through that and stay consistent with the process?
Man, actually, this literally was a process. Like I shouldn't have. My movie should have never been made. Should have never been produced. But that don't, just because you don't, well, let me start from the beginning. So like I told you earlier, I graduated and I tried my hand at radio, TV, film stuff locally here in Texas. That's when I did like the Steve Harvey stuff. And I know America's Got Talent came into town. So I did little stuff like that, but it wasn't consistent, right? And although my parents didn't mind or complain, I just felt like I wasn't adequate in living up to what I needed to do.
Right.
They already, paid for this expensive degree from TCU. And I didn't feel like I was carrying my end of the bargain. So I went back to school and did my thing, but I started writing. And I was a teacher, so I had summers off. So one summer, I went to California and I stayed out there for a month. And it was my dad's friend. He's a preacher. My dad has two preacher friends named Wayne in California. So Wayne Chaney is the first one, and he hooked me up with this lady named Holly Carter. And he was doing a TV show, like Preachers of LA came out, or it was coming out.
Okay, I remember that.
He was the producer of Preachers of LA, and he was one of the preachers on the show. And he was like, "You need to get with her. She's this director, producer. She's a powerhouse." I think because he knew that I had a passion for entertainment.
Okay.
Another nugget: sometimes don't conceal your passions and honestly, I don't even remember telling him.
Right.
But he knew because he struck up. I remember we were in my father's kitchen, and he was like, "So I hear you like Hollywood and entertainment. You're trying to do that thing," and he put me on to Holly. Because I spoke it. So that's one thing, I guess, with, don't hide what you're passionate about, because you never know who knows who.
Yeah.
Connect you to who. So, but yeah, so he was like, go out there. So I went out there. I stayed with my dad's preacher friend, Wayne Cooper. Like I actually stayed with Wayne Cooper and our friend Janice, that's her father. And they let me stay at their house for a month free of charge. Which is a blessing, because
it is a blessing.
Again, LA is really expensive. Imagine an Airbnb in LA for a month.
Yeah.
Imagine how much that would cost. But they didn't charge me a dime. So I stayed with them, and Wayne Chaney hooked it up to where I could work with Holly. So I was going to work every day as Holly's essentially assistant.
Okay.
It was unpaid. Here I am, a college graduate. At this point, I have 2 degrees. I have a bachelor's and a master's from private university. So I got these expensive tail degrees.
And you still putting in that work for your
I'm
job.
working as a teacher. I spent money on my plane ticket, and I had a rental car while I was out there. And I'm not getting paid anything.
Not getting paid nothing.
Not getting paid a dime other than relationship equity is what I got paid.
Right.
So and Janice's dad, they lived out in Pasadena, California. Holly's office was like downtown LA. So that was quite a drive every morning. But again, I was staying free. So I made that trip every day. And I put in that work just to build those relationships. And then I would come home. So I would go work with her. I would come home or come to the Cooper's house. And I started writing. I had this idea. The Lord just put this idea in my head and my heart several years prior. But I remember I was on Janice's couch because they weren't there, and I was just on the couch, and I just started. That's when I gave myself my first detailed outline.
Okay.
That was summer 2012. I spent a month out there. I think I came back, and then I ended up writing I fleshed out the outline. I wrote the whole script. And then I kind of sat on it for a little bit. I polished it up. I got it to where I thought it was a good spot. And then I started entering into competitions. Some competitions said no. But one competition, I remember I was at work. I was at parent-teacher night. It was parent-teacher conference day.
Right.
It was at nighttime. And I was seated at my table, and then I got this email. And it was like, you've been accepted into the International Faith and Family Film Competition. I was like, oh my gosh, that was. I remember just feeling. I can't describe how that.
Yeah. It's like an unbelievable feeling. Like
it's validation.
Right.
Right. To get valid. It's one thing for your parents and your friends to be like, good job. But for industry,
to actually see it come through.
So that was cool. And
so let me ask you this. When you was getting that rejection, like, did you feel down, or were you like, I know you played sports your whole life, so you already had that resilient attitude, like, next play, bounce back type attitude. Did you still have that, attitude, or did it hurt you a little bit, or?
Rejection hurts. And I'll say rejection to something like this is more personal to me than an athletic failure. Because sometimes in athletic failures, you see your blood, you're out there on the court, on the field. I ran track, you're on the track. So if the person next to you just outdoes you, like it's pretty like the same blood, sweat, and tears, and you just got outmatched, and you can't win them all. That's my dad used to say, you can't win them all. But when it's something so personal, it's like you're writing, you feel like they're accepting or rejecting you. And it was always more personal to me. So it definitely hurt. But the first thing they tell you in Hollywood, you have to have thick skin. You have to have tough skin. If you don't have tough skin, you don't have thick skin, you won't make it. Because you're gonna hear 50 no's before you ever hear a maybe. So, and if you can't accept those 50 no's, but that one maybe may be all you need, it could be your turning point. But so I entered the competition, and I went out to LA. I was a finalist. I was a top 2 finalist, and I ended up losing to a lady who I thought was really accomplished for it to be an amateur competition. But I was like, I'm not gonna be salty just to even be here. I think I'm losing light. But I don't even know how to get it back, honestly. But
right there.
Just to be there was still, it was really cool. And my mom and my sister flew out there with me, so that was a nice experience. And then I even with the same script, I kept working on it. I took feedback and criticism and I apply that to the work, and then how do I get it better? Okay, I see it's good because these people accepted it, but obviously it has room to grow and improve.
Right.
So I kept improving it. TV One came along. They have this competition. American Black Film Festival is the film festival that sponsors, that hosts. Like that is the largest Black film festival in America, I believe.
Okay.
TV One sponsors the screenplay writing competition of that film festival. So they have like, you could submit actual film, short film, like HBO does a short film competition and they're the big sponsor, but for the writing, it's TV One. So I submitted the same script that I submitted to this previous one.
Uh-huh.
I changed it. I gave it a new name. It was called The Experiment. I renamed it to Downsized. Now because TV One had different specifications because because I originally wrote it to be produced for movie theaters. TV One is, of course, a cable network, so I had to change it to where it would fit, the 2-hour time block with commercials. So I had to change it a little bit. But I did that. I submitted it, and I didn't get accepted. So the first year I submitted it, Downsized to TV One, I didn't get accepted. My homeboy, I met him at American Black Film Festival several years prior. We both submitted films that year. He got accepted. I didn't. But I was so happy for him. I wasn't jealous. I wasn't mad.
But that's good though. You know what I'm saying? That's good. So just want to jump in there right there because you brought up a good point. Like, you might be doing something together, and like you just said, one of your friends or something might make it, but you don't. But now what I see a lot is like people get mad or it ruins relationship instead of showing love for that person and supporting them. I'm a real believer of like whatever you give out, that's what you get. So, if you're giving more love out, that's what you're gonna get back.
Yeah.
And so I'm definitely wanting to highlight that point because you made a good point. Because often you see people grinding it out. It's like even in sports, I know me and you big sports fans, but sports, we grinding it out, getting ready for the draft. Dang, my boy got drafted. I didn't. No, I jump higher than him. I'm faster than him. Type talk.
You start comparing yourselves.
Yeah, and so definitely wanted to highlight that point. Let's fast forward right quick. You got the did you even win? Did you win? My mistake. Did you win?
No. So the first time I entered, I didn't get accepted at all. The next year, I was going to try to write an entirely different script. And I had started writing. I didn't finish it in time.
Okay.
And so I was being trifling, just to be honest. So I pushed it too close to the deadline, and I wasn't going to make it. The competition closed at like 11:59 my time, or no, 10:59 my time. So I was like, crap, I'm just going to re-enter the first one that got rejected last year. I'm going to re-enter it. I'm at home. I forgot what happened. Like I had all kind of technical issues. My internet, my printer, because you had to download this the application and fill it out and scan it and send it back in. Nothing, they say what can go wrong will go wrong.
Everything went
wrong. And mind you, I'm trying to do it like a quarter till the deadline. And I just couldn't finish it in time. I couldn't. And then I was just kicking myself. I was so mad. I was like, Michelle, not only did you not do the new script like you should have, you were so trifling, you couldn't even resubmit the old script. And I felt bad for a couple of days. And then that same friend who made it the year before, he texted me. I was at church. It was a Sunday. He texted me. He was like, yo, you'll never guess this. They reopened submissions. You have 2 days.
Yeah. And
I was like, what? He sent me a screenshot because I wasn't on Instagram at the time. So he sent me a screenshot of Instagram where they reopened submissions for that competition. And he's the one that told me. So I ran back and I got my stuff in that time. And oddly, I did a video competition. I made this commercial, and I was really excited about that.
Yeah, I remember that.
I thought that was going to go further because, mind you, they already rejected this first script. So I was doing that just because. But then I was at home. I got a phone call, and it was a girl, and she was like, "You were accepted. You know, your screenplay was accepted." And I'm thinking she was meaning the video I submitted. But so I had to stop and listen. I'm like, "Oh, the script?" Totally wasn't expecting it. So that was awesome. I was a finalist. I was a top 3 finalist. I went out there. I ended up losing.
How'd that feel? You thought you had that one in the bag, or were you just happy being top 3? Or
it was mixed emotions. For one, there are 3 finalists, but there ended up being 4 of us because 2 girls wrote 1 script together.
Okay.
So there's 3 scripts that were finalists, but actually 4 girls. All of the finalists were from Texas. The other finalist, she was from Arlington. We fly on the same plane to Miami. We don't even know each other. She was just, and we were on the same row, and she was like, "Excuse me, is your name Michelle?" And I was like, "Yeah," but we got kind of close. Like over that weekend, we were all in the same struggle. We're all aspiring writers. And so you form this bond, you know? And so you're proud of them. Of course you want to win, and I did want to win. And we got to do this live scene read. So you have like celebrities that actually read a little snippet of our script. And I thought the audience took to mine very well. It was very favorable response. People laughed when I thought they should, I got some more laughs when I didn't think I would, but it was still positive. So I thought I had a really good shot. I was getting good feedback. I thought I had a really good shot. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was really hopeful. You feel like you're at like the Oscars or something, like,
yeah.
You saw the nominees' faces, and I thought I had a real good chance, and they didn't call my name. And I was like, well, dang. But I was happy for my new friend and her success and in her winning. And then life went on. And that was in June. And how it works is if you win, they make they turn your script into a movie, and it premieres at the festival the next year.
Okay.
I lost. So in theory, they're going to produce this girl's script into a movie.
Right.
They called me in February of the following year. So that was in June. Come February, they're like, "Hey, we want to enter into talks about, the rewriting process," is what they said. And I was like, oh, okay. And I'm just thinking like, man, they may actually, because I heard that they sometimes they'll do both. They'll do mine and maybe. So I thought it was one of those deals. It wasn't until, I'm talking to them for a whole week. It wasn't until a week later, the lady calls me from TV One, and she was like, "Hey, did we ever tell you we're doing your movie?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "I was talking to another girl," and she was like, "I bet Michelle was really excited when she found out." And she said, "And I couldn't recount your excitement." And then it dawned on me, we never told her. And so she told me, and I was like, that's crazy. And not only were they making my movie, but they were going to premiere at the festival. They were doing mine instead of the other girls.
Wow.
And I was like, so that's why I said like mine, it shouldn't have been made.
Wow.
And if it were to get made, it shouldn't have been done with that much fanfare, because the American Black Film Festival is a big deal. All the celebrities are out, the stars of the movie come out, and you get to meet them. It's a big deal. But
man, that's awesome. I mean, it's funny how sometimes things work out.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was just, super excited for you, especially hearing about that. All the conversations that we have together, I really, those mean a lot to me, especially where we at now in our careers and what we're trying to accomplish, and those big dreams and goals that we both have. Those conversations mean a lot. And so definitely as we close, I got a couple of questions. One is, how do you stay motivated? And the second one, what do you leave? What can you leave us, people like me? I still work, but I fall under that. Do what you love what you do. I probably won't ever give up teaching and coaching. I can't say never, but
Right.
I wake up. It's a blessing just to be able to do what I do. That. So what do you say to people like me who are building a business or building a brand on the side? What kind of tips do you have for us? And then, how do you stay motivated every day?
Well, I'll start with the motivation. The motivation just comes out of a desire to accomplish what you wanted to do. Like when I go to work, as much as I work for a great organization, they treat me well. It's literally a great organization, but it wasn't my vision. That organization was not, it wasn't on my vision board. It was not something I set out to do. I wasn't born with the purpose of making that business excel and succeed and surpass expectations. That's someone else's vision, And so I'm like, if I can wake up every day and go make sure that someone else lives out their vision, how dare I not do it to myself? So that kind of motivates me. And I will say a taste of success also helps.
Yeah.
Like, and you got to keep fighting. But like I said, my movie should have never been done. And I was trifling. I didn't even get it in on time. They had to open it back up in order for me to get it in. And that's when I ended up getting nominated, still losing, and God still provided to where I got my movie made.
Yeah,
so, when you know that as trifling as you are and as much as you aren't committed to your goal like you should be, God still got your back.
They got your back.
That's motivating because he's like, yo, I ain't gonna keep holding you up too much long. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That window of opportunity, you never know, and just so happened to open for you again.
It did, but that's motivating. But that tells me that I'm not in this by myself, and it also tells me that I'm in the right direction. Because sometimes you're reaching for something that God really don't have for you, and you're like, God, why aren't you opening this door? Why don't I see these provisions? Well, he's like, because I didn't tell you to do it.
Right.
But I've been in the situation where I'm not doing my part, and God is still, he picks me up and carries me through the door. And that just kind of gives me motivation to know, Michelle, if you'll do it, God will see it through. So that's motivation. Tips. I too am working a 9-to-5. So I'm one of, I'm one of,
you one of us.
I'm in that number. And I'm pragmatic. Like I told you earlier, I don't have starving artistry in my blood. So I'm not one of the ones that'll tell you just to make that leap. Just go make that dive. Go do it.
Yeah.
Have faith in yourself. I think you should have faith in yourself, but I think you should have faith with a reason.
Right.
You have bills. You have responsibility. So don't neglect your responsibility. And if you really want, what I tell people is I'm trying to make it to where my job will get in the way of my passion.
Right. And then you just have to get rid of your job.
I have to, like, when the point that my job is holding me up, if I have to, like, I worked with a guy when I was teaching, I was in the classroom. He was a teacher as well. He made furniture on the side. He would take old sheds. He would take refurbished Texas wood and make it into beautiful furniture. So he drove by and saw a shack. He would go and tear that wood down, polish it up, refurnish it, and make it into a table, make it into a couch or a bench. And it got to the point where teaching was stopping him from doing that. His business was booming so much. He was like, I had to let go of teaching. He let go of teaching in the middle of the school year because he was like, I can't, I'm getting these big contracts and I can't turn it down.
I can't keep up. Yeah.
That's the goal but you got to pursue. If he wasn't pursuing it in his part-time, it would have never inched its way over to being full-time. So you have to remind yourself why you want it.
Why? Yeah.
If you remind yourself why you want it, then that should be enough to motivate you. And especially if you don't like your job. If you don't like your job, you don't like your company.
That's 90% of America, Shell. I mean,
I know that's most of us. What it is complacency and comfort. It's really comfortable. Even me, like I said, I like the people I work with. I like the job the company I work for. But I also really like that check.
Yeah.
And I think if we, more than anything, that's why we do it.
That security. Yeah. I remember me and you used to talk about teachers and stuff. And sometimes, I got to remove myself from some of the teachers, like some of the negativity I hear at work. I'm like, oh man, just go do something else.
Right.
Well,
and I got to that point, honestly, where I love teaching. I loved being in the classroom. I tell people always ask me, they're like, do you miss teaching? And I say, I miss having a job that matters. Because ever since I've started working in corporate America, I haven't felt like my jobs matter at all. Just to be honest, I don't feel that. I'm not changing lives. When I was in the classroom, I held conversations with kids. I talked them out of stuff. They can confide in me about certain things. My job mattered. It don't matter now. But then there's still the bureaucracy, the red tape, the people in DC and Austin telling me how to run my classroom. That gets old too. And so I got to a point where I wasn't happy in that. Yeah. And so I got out, and I told myself, I was like, some teachers, there's a particular lady I worked with, she had a reputation for being a terrible teacher. And I said, I promise you, at one point, she probably wasn't that bad. She just got beat up by the system. Yeah. But instead of leaving, she decided it's a check. When she lost her passion, but she kept the check. And then she became a miserable teacher for it. As to where when I felt my passion, or at least my happiness, kind of slipping away in the classroom, I was like, I'll be doing these kids a disservice if I stayed, because kids can tell when you aren't passionate. Kids can tell when your heart isn't there. And
man, that's crazy. That's crazy you brought that up, because when I was ready to find something different when I left North Carolina, just for the same reasons. And beat up. When I end up, I was ready to go full-time entrepreneur when I moved to Virginia. Or find something else to do. But I just so happened to, get a phone call, and it's like renewed. They have this renewed energy in me, just new environment. Now I'm back to doing what I love and love what I do, and being with kids and everything like that. Michelle, man, I really appreciate you spending this time being with us, our viewers, our listeners. If this episode helped you in any way, please share it. You can find her on her social media. What's your social media on Instagram?
I got some crazy ones. So my social media, my Instagram is Shelly Mac Attack.
Yeah, Shelly Mac Attack.
Shelly_Mac_Attack. My Twitter, one of my students made it a long time ago. So it's YG Lil Kissic is my Twitter.
YG Lil Kissic, yeah,
YG
okay.
Lil Kissic.
So definitely go follow Michelle on the social media platforms. Guys, if you haven't checked out the movie on TV One, Downsized, with Boris Cujo and his wife, it's a very good family movie. Yeah, what's her name?
Nicole Ari Parker.
Yeah, Nicole. I call her Nicole. That's my homegirl.
Okay.
So she know you, and then we family, so we all family. So it was a great movie. Like I said, I watched it with our family. Again, Shell, thank you for enlightening.
My parents were actually over the house when we watched it here.
Huh? Oh, you said my parents were over there? Okay. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, man, and just really those conversations that me and you have. I'm definitely glad that we got to share it today. All right. Thanks, Shell. Thank you again.
Thank y'all.